Are you at that point in the season where the weather isn't changing anytime soon, but you're totally sick of your wardrobe and looking for some fun, easy ways to refresh it with a simple DIY project or thrift flip? Oh my gosh, what a coincidence. Me too. Today, I'm doing some creative projects to refresh my summer wardrobe, and I'm bringing you along with me. You could really do these in any season. I'm just doing them right now to my summer clothes. We've got painting, we've got embroidery, we're beading, we're cropping, and very minimal optional sewing. I know I do a lot of sewing on this channel, but there are so many other cool options out there that this week I wanted to provide some fun creative inspo to all, not just those with a sewing machine. These projects use a variety of tools and supplies I had around, and they are all very fun and creative and artistic, and I'm so excited to get started. So let's just get into it. Before we do though, I have to introduce you to a great online resource for all things creative and DIY, Craftsy, the sponsor of today's video. Craftsy has over 2,000 classes in sewing, embroidery, painting, knitting, jewelry making, and so many more categories, and they're led by experts with step-by-step instructions for makers of all skill levels. Later in this video, we're doing some embroidery, so to prepare, I took Jessica Marquez's class, Design It, Stitch It, Hand Embroidery, and I got so much inspiration for this project and so many useful insights from someone who really knows what they're doing for many future projects to come. I've also previously taken Sandra Betzina's class, Pant Construction Techniques, and learned so many nuggets of wisdom for my sewing projects. If you're learning to sew or trying to upgrade your skills, I definitely recommend it. And I have an incredible deal for you all. The first 1,000 of you to click the link in the video description will get a full year of premium membership to Craftsy for only $1.49. That is an insane value for new members. Thank you, Craftsy. Now let's get that crafting in action. All right, for project number one, we're going to turn this plain, solid tank top into a cool graphic tank top. I love graphic tank tops. I wear them all the time, and in my wardrobe, I have two very similar plain blue tank tops currently. So I thought a great way to give my wardrobe a little more variation would be to turn one into a graphic tank by painting a design on it. I'm using this one because it's a little thicker and sturdier, and I'm literally just gonna paint the design on with acrylic paint. I know some people use fabric medium or like specialty paints to do stuff like this. I literally started just using acrylic paints to do this in college because I already had paint and I was too cheap to get any other special supplies. And it's generally worked great for me. I mean, acrylic paints stain clothes, like they'll stay on. Okay, so I've already tried on the shirt and like marked with chalk where I want the design to go, but now I have to actually make a design that I'm gonna put on there. The vision that is sort of floating around in my brain right now is plain white. I like the idea of keeping it neutral so I can still style it in all the same ways. And I think a little fish graphic would be really cute because it's kind of summery but still works year round. I had this fish graphic tee when I was a kid that I loved so much and wore all the time. So I'd love to do a little homage to that. And I also have this fish dress that I sewed myself from thrifted fabric like 4 years ago that I love very much. And I'm thinking I might use these fish as sort of a reference for my design. So step one, make a sketch. Step two, paint it on the shirt. So to make this sketch, I actually took a photo of the fish print on the dress and then traced a few of the different fish in the pattern on my iPad to make my sketch. I don't know if that will seem silly because obviously I can't trace the sketch onto the shirt anyway, so like who cares if it's that exact, but I think that step in between just helped me better visualize how I was going to translate the fish from the dress into my style with the thick line art in a single color. I also just want to say, I mean, I know plenty of other artists could do something similar to this, but I also realize if you don't consider yourself a quote-unquote good artist or drawer, this might seem totally inaccessible to you as a DIY, but I just want to remind you that you can do this with any degree of complexity or simplicity you want. It does not need to be a detailed dimensional painting. It can literally be something like this, or this, or this. You could even use a stencil. There are lots of ways to create your own graphics on clothing without being like a serious artist. So I hope if you're interested, you can give it a try and have fun with it. And if you do want to try something more complex, I of course highly encourage you to go for it. I celebrate that, I celebrate you, and my best tips for you are just to make a plan that's easy to follow and go slow. This footage is literally sped up to 20 times the speed I was actually going, so please trust I was taking my time, and that's part of the fun. It's actually very therapeutic, I think. All right, our next project is a different way to add more detail and visual interest to a piece, embroidery. Specifically, I want to embroider a design on this button-up shirt. I actually had a different cropped blue button-up that I embroidered a design on years ago that I finally just recently let go of because it was just too cropped for my preference now and I didn't love the fabric. And then I got this shirt as a hand-me-down from my boyfriend, and I thought it could be cool to use as like a new 2.0 version of that shirt that suits my style better now. Also, I sold the old one on Depop, and the person who bought it sent me such a nice message and left a nice review. And I just want to say, if you're watching, thank you so much. I'm so happy you love it. And I love that now we can sort of be twinning with two different takes on this shirt in the world. This shirt is a bit too big for me, so I am actually going to crop it first, just to like a normal hip length on me, not super cropped, but obviously you can do this with any shirt you have that already fits you, and then we can get started on an embroidery design.
After cropping the shirt, I took some time to sketch out ideas, which is a fundamental step in any sort of visual graphic DIY project, but I realized I often skip over it in videos because I just assume it's boring to watch. And like, maybe it is. I clearly didn't document the details here, but I feel like it's worth acknowledging that I do not always have the perfect idea right away on the first try. It takes some brainstorming and trying out different things. I even ended up changing the design again from the sketch I'm about to show you.
Okay, I've just finished my embroidery design. Here it is, similar to the previous shirt as I referenced, but a little different, a little more. I also chose the colors for this largely based on what colors I have available to me currently without having to run to the craft store. So I'm hoping I have enough embroidery thread to pull this off. We'll see. Time to plug back into my favorite podcast, the Bechtel Cast.
Because I was trying to make this design somewhat symmetrical, at least in placement, I sketched the design onto the shirt in chalk first with a little more precision than usual just to get that placement nice and balanced. After that, it was time to actually embroider, which at this point was really just tracing my sketched design with thread. I've realized a lot of my friends in real life, even those who are great artists in things like drawing and painting, are a bit intimidated by embroidery, especially freehand like this, but I always say it really is basically just drawing with thread. Wherever you would put the next segment of a line in drawing, that's where you go with the thread, and you can complete a whole image this way. Especially if you draw or sketch it out first, then you're truly just tracing with thread, which is even easier than drawing. You know, I imagine there are also a lot of embroidery artists out there who don't think they can draw, so if that's you, let me also just say, drawing is kind of just embroidery with a pencil. Or pen, your utensil of choice. They're both just making lines that add up to shapes and images. And like with the painting, you can go as simplistic or as complex as you want. Clearly, I've gone simpler here than I did with the painting. They can all be adapted to your comfort.
Hi, it's 2 days later, I finished my embroidery, and now I'm ready for another project, which is beading, kind of, but really it's making some beads and then using them for something. I already made some beads and charms at a craft night a couple weeks ago out of bakeable polymer clay, and I have had a vision of painting some sort of really cool designs on them and then making like a little necklace or a little bag charm or something cool with them. Clearly, I don't have a strong vision for this, which is why I have not quite had the motivation to return to it and finish them. But this video is the perfect opportunity to channel my creativity, make something happen with these. I also have a bunch of other stray beads. You can see a lot of my beading supplies. Maybe I'll mix those in. I'm not sure yet. You're really just along for the ride with me on this one. So I've sketched a couple little designs onto some of them. The rest we'll have to play around. But let's just see what we come up with.
We're setting up the paints, we've got the paint smock flannel on, we're ready to get started. Except, I still didn't know what the end product would be, and honestly, I only really had a vision for one of these clay creations. But that's all I needed to get started. I had a tiny sketch on this little pendant charm, so I got to work on what is basically just a tiny painting. I had really never painted anything even close to this small before, so it was kind of a unique challenge, and I don't think I did it perfectly, but it was also so fun, and I'm so happy with how this turned out. I'm honestly kind of shocked I was able to make this work. My vision here was sort of random. I just liked the idea of more concrete images that don't normally go together, like a fish and a flower, combined with abstract little shapes and dots. So that's what I did. I really wish I had a better backstory to this, but I just thought it looked cool, and sometimes that's what art is all about. I also have to tell you something up front. I, of course, painted many little beads and charms here, and I actually didn't end up using this one in the final product. You'll see later. It just didn't seem like it fit best with that. So if you have ideas of what to do with this, please leave them in the comments. I was thinking a necklace pendant, but I feel like it's a little too much for that maybe, so I would love other more creative ideas. After that first one, I really had no vision, so I just kind of free-handed the rest of the beads from there, and I painted a bunch more off camera after this. I kind of just went to town, doing little designs and little motifs on all these different tiny beads. I also left some blank because I feel like they didn't all need a little graphic. But yeah, I just kind of tried to put whatever I thought could work in a very tiny shape, so we kept with simple but recognizable motifs and patterns.
Hello, I just have to show you all this. To let my beads dry, I have put them on wire and I'm hanging them on a little makeshift ribbon clothesline. This is innovation, I feel. Do I know what I'm going to do with these beads yet? No, but hopefully I figure it out after I paint them.
I feel a little silly commentating on how to actually do this because I just feel like no one is actually going to watch this and then make their own tiny clay beads and then paint their own designs on them and then turn them into something. But I do feel obligated to let you know, if you do this, putting some of the beads on a wire, especially the rounder beads, made them much easier to paint on all sides. Truly, if any of you actually do this, please tell me and tag me in a picture on Instagram or something. I would be so honored and I would very much like to see.
Okay, it's much later in the day. I finished my beads. I haven't used them to make anything yet, but I think it's gonna be like a keychain bag charm situation. You'll see when it's done. I also just finally hemmed my embroidered shirt, and now it's time for our last project. Taking this dress I picked up from the clothing swap I hosted recently and turning it into a blouse. Before we do this though, I do just have to give a little spiel about it. If you don't care about the clothing swap, you can skip ahead. But we had a local community clothing swap last weekend. So many of you came and truly made it so amazing. Everyone had the best vibes imaginable. And I know that was only a tiny fraction of my viewers who happened to be in the area, but it really made me feel so grateful for all of you all over the place. I truly have like the coolest, nicest audience ever. I just know my viewers everywhere are as cool as this group was. And it was so special, and I felt so lucky to get to meet so many of you. Sometimes it's like you forget that you're really connecting with and speaking to real people through YouTube. And so it was just really, really wonderful to meet so many of you. And my update is we had so many clothes left over thanks to our very generous attendees. So we ended up having 5 huge garbage bags and 2 very large tote bags full of clothes to donate to Goods for Good, a local organization that provides clothing for refugees and migrants who need them, along with a bunch of other people. I'll link them below if anyone wants to learn more. I also had 2 more bags of stuff that they couldn't accept, so those got dropped off at the thrift store. But it is so cool to me that literally just as like a side effect of this event, you all also provided literally hundreds and hundreds of clothes to people who need them and will use them. And you did it sustainably. Thank you so much. I also 1000% encourage you to try organizing one yourself in your community if that interests you at all. It was amazing. And if you are interested in something like that, this video from Alyssa Barber was basically my guide for doing this. So I'll link that below too. Great video, great channel. I also just wanted to share that I am donating all the proceeds of my Depop for the rest of the summer to Gaza's Roots Grassroots Initiative. I've been trying to continually add more stuff from my closet clean out on there, so I'll link that in the description too. Okay, thank you for listening. Now on to the project. At this clothing swap, I didn't take anything until everyone else had already left, but I did snag a few goodies at the end, including this gorgeous dress. How adorable is this? Can you believe no one took it? Whoever brought this is so cute. Thank you so much. However, the shape is sort of giving nightgown, and it's also a bit transparent. And that makes me think this maybe literally actually is meant to be a nightgown, not really outside daily clothes. Not super wearable. But the top is so adorable on its own, and I feel like way more wearable. So we're just chopping it off. Full disclosure, I actually already measured it and cropped it a couple days ago because I just couldn't wait to do it. And you know, you could just be done there, but I'm just gonna give it a finished hem, give it a nice finished look, and then we'll be good to go. Also, from cropping it, I have this little swath of fabric from the bottom half of the dress left over. So please give me suggestions of what to do with this in the comments. With that, all of our projects are done. I'm so excited about these, so let me just show you the final reveals.
First, we have our plain tank top turned fish tank top. This is basically exactly what I envisioned, and I love it so much. I was so scared of messing it up with the paint, but as you saw, I tried to plan it out really well, and I think it paid off. I am so proud of this, and I cannot wait to wear it. I feel like literally every outfit I would have worn with a plain blue tank top will be even cooler and better with a blue fish tank top. Next, we have the embroidered button down. I'm also quite pleased with this one. I love how the embroidery looks on top of the small, subtle pattern of the fabric too. It just adds some extra interest and dimension. I will say the only shortcoming here to me is that the green thread blends into the shirt a little too much, especially next to the yellow thread, which kind of stands out the most. So I'm not sure what to do about that. I could go over it again to make it thicker or redo it in a brighter shade. Overall though, I'm still happy with it, and I think it looks good and cute and very my style, and I'm excited to have such an easy wearable layer with so much personality to it. Next, we have our dress turned blouse. A very simple, very straightforward DIY, but it totally transformed the usability of this piece. I also like that this feels short enough to wear untucked, but also long enough to tuck it in if I wanted, and I'm already brainstorming how to style it. I also love that this is now this special, customized, upcycled piece sourced from that clothing swap. So it's such a cute, fun, unique blouse and a special little memento. Finally, we have my painted beads, which I decided off camera to turn into a little keychain bag charm. I just strung them onto some elastic jewelry string, and I am literally so thrilled and delighted with this. I think it is so cute and so unique because I made like every piece of it myself from start to finish. I'm quite proud of that, and I just think this is unbelievably cute and whimsical. I'm sorry I can't think of better words, but I hope what I'm lacking in vocabulary I'm making up for in clear enthusiasm. You can see I did also add in a couple beads a friend made years ago that I had around, and I also did not use all the beads I made and painted on this bag charm, so I'll have to use the others for more projects, especially that painted pendant. Please drop your beaded project suggestions and ideas in the comments.
Overall, these were just so fun and a little more creative than my usual, altering and mending. It really got my creative juices flowing, and now I just want to make even more things. But for now, I am so stoked to have these in my wardrobe. It's feeling very refreshed for the rest of summer and beyond. I would love to hear your thoughts on these projects in the comments. Please tell me your favorites or anything cool you've DIY'd recently. And I heard if you do leave a comment, watch another video, and subscribe, you will finally find a use for those craft supplies you've had just sitting in the back of a closet for maybe a little too long.